In this section, we're going to talk about approaching second level connections. So this is really where what I call the digital referral comes into play. This is the digital referral in action, and this is where you're going to be able to create a mechanism to bring in opportunities for you through LinkedIn. Now, here's what you want to do. So we talked about this in the last section. Your connections, it's really, if you have a strong LinkedIn base with a lot of connections, it's good for you. And as long as those connections are strong, they can make introductions. So once again, if we wanted to get into say this Ian Ross fellow, what I would do is I would go down into the highlights section and click on the 22 mutual connections that I know and see which people are connected to Ian Ross that I'm connected to that can make an introduction for me. Now, when I find someone, what I do is I send out a letter. And this, it's not a letter, it's an email that goes out to my connection asking them to introduce me to their connection. So what I usually do is the subject line is, can you help me out? Who doesn't like to help people out? It's kind of a psychological thing, and people are more prone to trying to help others. What I do is that I put hello, and then I put the person's name. I say, hope all is well. I was hoping you could help me out. I'm taking certain solution, or I've got this product, or I've got whatever, to different companies right now or different individuals. I was hoping that you could help me out by making an introduction to this person from this firm. My solution helps people like this by doing whatever the benefit is. Do you know this person well enough to introduce me? If so, here's an intro that you can use. Subject line, introduction to Chris Hamilton. Email body, hello, and then that's the person's first name. A friend of mine reached out to me to see if I could introduce the two of you. His name is Chris Hamilton. I've known him for a while. Chris helps companies or helps individuals or does whatever with this product or service. He tells me that the people or the companies typically, they'll increase their revenues, reduce their costs, reduce their taxes, whatever it is that you have, by whatever percent. If you have those kind of hardcore metrics and numbers. He was hoping to get introduced to you, and I wanted to check with you first before connecting the two of you. Do you mind if I connect the two of you? Regards, and then you put the person's name in there that you're asking to make that introduction. Then I also put a little blurb down at the bottom. It was like, let me know if you don't mind doing this. I can tell you more about this process. I can tell you more about this product and whatever. And then the other line that I usually put in there is, by all means, please let me know how I can help you out as well, because I don't want it to be all kind of take. You also want to be able to tell people, I will help you if you need it as well. Now, the reason why I do this is, and I send it to people in an email, is that by creating the message, you've really dumbed it down for them so that all the person has to do is kind of copy and paste this into an email. And it literally takes like 20 seconds or 30 seconds to do this. If you ask someone to make an introduction without giving them any relevance or any information or anything like that, then realistically what's going to happen is that person's going to sit there and they're going to rack their brain about why they would want to make an introduction. What do they have to put in there? And chances of this getting done are next to nil. So I would highly recommend use a template that's very similar to this, build it out, and then just send it off to your connections that are connected to people that you've identified you want to reach out to. So just to give you an understanding, I've only had literally 4 people reach out to me on LinkedIn for an introduction in the last 12 months. I'm getting upwards of 50% of these connections that I reach out to for referrals into a meeting and a conversation. So start doing the math on this. 99.9% of my connections on LinkedIn do not do this, yet it gives me tremendous results, and it's a mechanism that I can use to generate more business. Huge opportunity for you to do stuff that very few people are leveraging on LinkedIn. So a couple other stats that you need to think about is the cold calling has a success rate kind of between 0.3% and 2.5%. This digital referral, the way I use it, I've usually got about 20% of the people that I've asked for introductions. I'm into a face-to-face meeting, a phone conversation, or at least an email thread or an email conversation that goes back and forth. If you take a look at this 0.3%, which was a study done by Baylor University with a success rate, compared to, say, 20% or more, I'm getting up to 66 times better results or more opportunities walking in the door than people that may be picking up the phone and cold calling. And I'll tell you what, I know very few people are actually cold calling because, quite honestly, it's a stressful thing. This is far better and so much easier. So once again, just the tip here, the best way to get introduced is to ask your connection to introduce you by email. Do not do it through LinkedIn. The reason being is that not a lot of people jump on LinkedIn all the time. They're not going to look at their messages. Their messages get buried. And when they get buried, then chances of this happening are very slim. Hit them in their inbox where they're going to see this email and it's going to be sitting there for a bit and they'll action this as well. So why does this work? First of all, I call it the digital referral. The digital referral is leveraging your LinkedIn connections to make introductions to their LinkedIn connections. It's a whole digital world and it's a referrals piece as well. Typical sales, by the way, close at 25%. Referrals close at 50%. So that's double the rate. Referrals, when they come in the door, convert at 3 to 5 times better than cold sales leads that walk in the door. The Word of Mouth Marketing Association also shows that 65% of all new business comes from referrals, yet only 11% of salespeople, business people, anyone that's in a business development role have a referral process in place or ask for referrals. So at the end of the day, if you look at this, 89% of people don't ask for referrals, yet the referrals are responsible for 65% of all sales and close at, say, 2 to 4 times the average amount. And they also close faster, up to a quarter of the time faster. So huge opportunities to leverage a process like this digital referral to grow your pipeline and get more opportunities. And then the thing on top of that is as you bring in more clients in this way, you can leverage those clients, get them connected on LinkedIn and see who they know as well. Because typically, dentists hang out with other dentists if that's your marketplace. Business owners hang out with other business owners if that's your marketplace. This is a way to continually grow your network and also grow your pipeline.